Thank you, everyone, for joining for a super special episode of Marketing for E-commerce Brands. Not only is this episode 10, but we have a special guest today with us, Michelle Golladay. Thank you for joining. She brings 10 years of experience leading marketing and revenue growth at the top SaaS and tech companies. So right now she's the customer marketing lead at Vimeo. Before that, she was the VP of Revenue at Daasity and the Senior Director at FedEx. So thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. This is my favorite topic.
Isn't it just? We're always talking about marketing. So to start things off, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to where you are today?
Thank you, Grace. I am, as you said, I've been in this game for a while and I've dipped my toe in a lot of different areas, mostly within the technology B2B SaaS sector. But for the past 6 years or so of my 10-year career, have been in the e-commerce, retail, MarTech space. So scaling across um, anywhere from email to post-purchase to the whole life cycle really I've kind of been working in. And my last job was focused primarily on data and analytics and what levers can you pull, dependent on your budget, the size of your business, and your goals. On the other hand, I also help, outside of my day job, I also meet with brands. And this could be a topic for another time, Gracie, but we can, one of my favorite things is doing an audit on who are brands' target buyers, where are they headed, and how can we facilitate connections between brands as well? 'Cause it's so important that brands talk to one another. And there's a lot of communities out there. There's obviously a lot of conferences, trade shows, but sometimes the best ideas you get from a collaboration is just by meeting folks or being connected. So that's another passion point of mine. So I have a consultancy on the side and I advise brands and also tech companies.
So she's the go-to for anything marketing or revenue. So now you know. So now you guys understand why I asked Michelle, especially for today's episode, because we're going to be tackling really the KPIs that matter for e-commerce brands. So Michelle, you and I both know there's a ton of noise out there as to what KPIs really actually matter. So what would you say are the main, let's say, top five KPIs that really matter when it comes to e-commerce and growth?
I feel like everyone is always going to look to ROAS, and it's really important for you to highlight what is your return on investment in terms of ad spend. But for me, the most important metric to track is, are you retaining your customers, your existing customers? Because those are the folks that come back for more. And we know the metrics around how expensive it is to acquire a new customer. So it's really important that you maintain and retain those relationships with your existing customers because those are the folks that are going to turn out for you when you don't have discounts or promotions and you have a new product that you want to launch or you want product feedback. And so for me, LTV or CLV is a huge thing to track, really important. Obviously, top of funnel metrics. Everyone wants new customers. Um, but then again, I go back to that lifetime value metric because you want to make sure that as you acquire a new customer, because many times we're offering discounts to acquire those new customers, we're spending a ton of money to get eyeballs on our brands. It's really important that you retain that relationship. You're sending them content that's relevant to them. And so any metric or KPI that's going to draw you to be more informed in that way. So repurchase rate, those types of metrics are really, really important to track as well.
I totally agree. And I would even add too for e-commerce brands, never overlook that value of your long-term customers, your VIPs. They're the ones that you can collaborate with. They're the ones you get the best feedback. They're the ones that shout about you. So taking it kind of one step further, are there any practical ways that you feel like any e-commerce brands may be listening today that they can increase that customer lifetime value without increasing ad spend too much?
Totally. I mean, this comes up all the time. Everyone's trying to do this, and I think it's actually applicable across B2B tech. So if anyone's listening and is from a vendor or technology company, I mean, this is the stuff I do in my job every day. Is like, how do we get our customers to talk about us? So referral programs are great. They do cost some money, but it does encourage, customers that have a really high ranking in terms of their value to bring in other customers. And so they're acting as your marketing and sales force in a way. I think back to even, this isn't an e-commerce brand, but they sell software online to consumers, Dropbox, right? The way I found Dropbox was through a referral. And so they offer free storage, a certain amount of free storage, and that boosts retention and loyalty. And that's how Dropbox actually scaled, was through users bringing in folks into that product. And then you also have e-commerce and smaller businesses like Mixed Made, and they make spicy honey. That's like all the rage right now. And they use personalized messages and customer engagement to foster that loyalty and encourage customers to bring their friends on the journey. So that's one. Definitely get your referral strategy, or you're creating micro influencers out of your customers, uh, which is a great way to do that. Then you have personalization. I think, obviously there's an investment here when you're going and taking your own data and trying to figure out how you're going to personalize the message. From anywhere from the smaller mid-market SMB mid-market brands all the way up to the giants like Amazon. I mean, Amazon is also a technology company, and they're using their own data to enhance that personalization. It's leading to increased LTV metrics for them. Um, but Naked and Famous, for example, they're focusing on authenticity and detailed product information to build that trust. So building trust, figuring out, what types of messages and segmentation you need to make so that you can deliver the right message to the right person at the right time. I'm sure we'll talk about things like, cart abandonment. What do you do there? And, one of the companies I used to work for is natively focused on personalization. There's so many great technologies out there. We'll get into that. And then third, there's so many things you can do to increase your LTV, but high quality products, right? So if you're delivering the best quality product for the consumer, they're going to come back for more. And if you have, for some reason, put the wrong, and we found this at my last company, Daasity, and like some brands would find that they were getting returns. And this is a very expensive thing for brands. So folks are returning things, and with your own data, you can start to, peel away the layers of what's happening here. Hey, we put the wrong size online, or the wrong color, or there was a small bug. Let's get ahead of it so we fix it and we can reduce that return rate. Communicating to your customers as well, super being transparent. So delivering the highest quality product you possibly can, listening to your customers, and also communicating really well with them so that if there is a mishap anywhere, you're able to just say, hey, we hear you. We're reading your reviews, whether it's reviews on Amazon or reviews on your own website, et cetera, but really listening to your customers and delivering the best product and message to them as well. And you'll see ripple effect. That's not something that maybe you'd see like, oh, this drastically increased our LTV in the immediate, but it's actually more of a slow burn. So you build those better relationships, and you're going to see the impact of all that hard work.
100%. And even I feel like those three tiers that you just mentioned, the high quality product then circles back into referrals. I'm always telling clients about
Yeah,
referral programs that they need to do. But the reality is when you have a high quality product, that sells your referrals for you, because if I find a great product, I'm going to want my friends and my family to know about it. So
1000%.
I love these three tiers. I think that is just the best cycle really to put forward for the top three. But you read my mind about cart abandonment, because that was the next KPI that I wanted to tackle with us. So obviously cart abandonment is a huge issue for online brands.
Yeah,
I have my own theories about, making sure you have an abandoned cart automation on, and that's bare minimum. So
yeah.
two questions kind of for you is, what do you think causes that cart abandonment, and what strategies have you seen work best to reduce it?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think I would love to just talk about this topic for hours and hours, because I think for me, typically personally when I abandon a cart, I'm just distracted. I'm online shopping at work, and then I'm looking at this thing, and then I leave, and then I forget about it, and then I'll come back when I'm retargeted an ad or something like this. But what's really great is if you can have the brand communicate with you directly, and we'll get through some of those solutions. But for the reasons why folks abandon, you have attention deficit issues like I do, or in reality, like there's unexpected costs, right? Perhaps it says it's this price, and then you go to check out, it's like, oh, the total is way different. So unexpected shipping costs, taxes and fees, high overall costs. And I understand the brand is taking on so much, of the cost and weight of that, just due to heightened shipping fees. I mean, you think about the impact that COVID has had on e-commerce and shipping, and people are going back to the stores, but still people are doing a lot of discovery and shopping online, still to this day. So that's one. Hey, the price is not worth it, even with any discount or promo code. It's still higher than I was expecting to spend. Number two, checkout process. I think that if you have too many things going on in the checkout and long and confusing, or there's a bug or something's not right, you need to make it easy and seamless for people to check out. There's a lot of things if you want to personalize your contact modules when you reach out and respond to someone, or when you reach out to someone when they've abandoned their cart, you do need them to be logged in a way so that you have their email and you have their SMS, or perhaps you have identity tracking in some way if you're an American company, and so you're able to send even more personalized messaging based off of behavior elsewhere. But yeah, if it's complicated, if they have to force their account creation as they're checking out, even though they really just want to be a guest and have that experience, the payment options aren't easy. Like they're not able to autofill their pay for some reason, their card or for some reason, et cetera. One of the best things I've seen come out of the industry is Shop Pay from Shopify. I feel like it just like came out of nowhere, and it's really simplifies the checkout system. And if you go and look at Shopify's investor briefings, it's just amazing how much growth they've seen by just implementing this onto any Shopify brand's checkout. So really cool to see that. But yeah, and then also website performance. I think for anyone that's running a website with lots of things going on, maybe you have Klarna or some sort of buy now, pay later. Maybe you have ShopRunner where I used to work, where you could get free 2 day shipping. I mean, there's so many different buttons and checkout options, and you want to be able to provide everything to everyone. That can slow down site speed. So if your website is, slow, lagging, customers need to get moving, and they want to be able to check out quickly. Trust and security. I don't really know. I think, just if folks feel like they're checking out of a website and they don't know that they feel super secure. So making sure you have that kind of buttoned up, return policies, slow delivery, they're just browsing versus buying, which is probably my use case where I'm just browsing a lot and I'm influenced by a lot of things and I get distracted. I'm like, do I really need that? So obviously you're going to have different solutions. Some of it's tech stack related. You need to go and button yourself up on the checkout or the load time. But the real fun is making sure you're sending the right cart abandonment message to the right person to incentivize them to buy. And you can do a lot of A/B testing, and seen a lot of brands increase revenue that way very quickly.
Yeah, and it surprises me how many brands I've seen that don't have this abandonment cart
Mm,
option on. So if you don't have it on, take this as your sign to go into your automation and your email marketing platform and go turn that on, because they make it so easy. But I think back to your point, Michelle, there's so many important parts to the website, obviously, especially that final checkout page. You don't want to overwhelm them with too much information, but having those key touch points, I think reviews and any sort of testimonial
yeah.
is an automatic given. And if you can give people the way, we've seen Amazon kill it with this, but I've seen other brands do it as well, is if I've purchased something and I can actually attach my photo of myself wearing it as a shopper, this does wonders for me. So finding that,
Yeah.
yeah, finding that balance.
We're finding also at Vimeo that, if you attach a video to a product page, you're seeing way higher conversion rates. Or you're including interactive videos on your shop quizzes. One of our customers saw a 34% higher conversion rate when they were creating an interactive component to their checkout and their product discovery pages. So, imagine for beauty brands, like you have a tutorial of what that would look like against different skin tones, and you can actually visualize yourself. And I love the example you gave of being able to upload your own image. And we've seen that with like, glasses. I mean, I wear glasses, so you're able to really interact with the product and try it on before you check out.
And that's key in the e-commerce world. We know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So shifting back into customer acquisition costs, because you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Obviously, brands are under enormous pressure to optimize their CAC. So what are some smart ways that you think e-commerce brands can lower this customer acquisition cost while still maintaining that strong customer experience?
Yeah. I don't think this is news to anyone, but spray and pray is going to be the most expensive way to do things, even though it's seemingly more simple. So getting really targeted on your highest value customer. And so really focusing your time and your efforts on creating those customer segments. And obviously, the more data you have, the better, because you're able to go kind of target those specific demographics with those marketing campaigns, which would reduce your CAC rather than spraying and praying. There's a time and place for mass marketing, but really, the more you can get down to the who am I targeting, what am I targeting them with, you're going to see lower CAC on your marketing spend. I think two brands stand out to me as like best in class for this, and it's Nike on the big on the larger end, and on the smaller end, Naked and Famous. I just think they do a great job of segmentation, and then optimizing your existing channels. So instead of just rushing to expand into new channels to acquire new customers, try and really tweak and optimize the performance of your existing channels. And I think automate where you can and have your tools work for you, because that will help you keep an eye on the things that are moving rather than having your hand in too many buckets. And I'm speaking specifically to those smaller mid-market brands, just because you're doing so much with, so little resources. So you either have an agency to kind of help you on your way there, or you have an in-house team, but doing more with less. And I don't know if that's too obvious, but there's a lot of great Shopify brands that are doing this. And then leverage your organic traffic, right? So invest in SEO. I mean, now I mean, Gen AI and ChatGPT, which is shaking up the game of how people are searching for things, especially in tech. But I think keeping an eye on, hey, how can we better invest in SEO? What are the new methods of searching for things? Whether it be through social media or AI search, or just your normal search engines, to then attract that organic traffic. I feel like, it's easy to forget about that thought leadership that can help you interact and engage with your future and current customer base. Some of my favorite email and SMS campaigns for my favorite brands are not actually selling me something yet. They're just engaging me in a fun and interesting manner and thought leadership. And I think, kind of becoming that media company that you see some brands doing really well, like Goop. And yeah, so blogs, content marketing, collaborations. I'm a big fan of collaborations where it makes sense, because you're able to go and find new audiences and also leverage their content teams.
Well, you read my mind, because I was going to ask you, what do you suggest for smaller brands when it comes to
Yeah.
SEO, but you covered that. But hard nail on the head with the searching, because I think we've seen a massive shift in our industry and how people are searching. So I really love that point as well. Just that people need to think outside of the box. It's no longer just Google in the game. We've got a ton of different platforms. And if you are monetizing or creating content on YouTube, I would also add, like, people are searching differently on each platform. So make
Yeah,
sure you take that into consideration when you're doing your SEO research for each one.
totally.
And then one of our favorite KPIs is an obvious one, which is conversion rate. But that leads me to the point that a lot of brands actually neglect the average order value. So,
Yeah.
as per your, well, in your opinion, what are some overlooked strategies for increasing that AOV that are something more than just running discounts? Because we know that one works.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention this at the beginning. AOV is so important because it helps with everything else too, right? Like your cart abandonment problem might reduce if like they feel like they're getting value out of the dollar amount that they're spending, right? So I think AOV is so important. But yeah, like the overlooked strategies I think are, again, I love things in threes. So upselling and cross-selling. So, use data to suggest relevant products. You have the data there. People are buying things that are related to one another that maybe you didn't know or put together yourself. And, you can have that related product at the bottom. I think a lot of brands are doing this great. I see this on when I'm shopping on Amazon. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't get it right. But it's, our technology is getting smarter and better. And so creating relevant products so that the consumer can get involved in other areas. Maybe like I came to you because I wanted, I'm thinking about Buck Mason. I've been targeted this specific t-shirt. It's a $50 t-shirt, supposedly the best t-shirt. And I keep looking at it, I keep adding it to cart. I'm like, oh, but it'd look great with these like really comfortable, stretchy jeans that are much more expensive. And I'm like, yeah, but the two together are gonna go great. So creating those opportunities to upsell when you've gotten that customer's attention. And then, kind of similar to that, product bundling. So having complementary products at a discounted price. Obviously, a lot of brands don't want to discount, but bundling is great. Dagny Dover, if I'm buying olive oil, from I can't remember the name. I think it's like Grazie. It's the really viral olive oil that I
Yeah, I
see
know the one.
everyone using. And what I love about that, because I am a recently new acquired customer there, I, got the olive oil, but I need the refill cans and I need, you know what I mean? And I need that bundle as a first time customer. And then now I know that I'm kind of in it. And so you're creating higher LTV just from that experience. So getting folks to understand like, hey, if I want to keep this product, this is what I have to do. I mean, the most simple example of this would be Jolie shower head filters. I have a Jolie shower head, and now we're going to bundle on a free filter for you. So you come back, get subscribe. Subscriptions are a great way of doing this as well. And then premium products. So doing the opposite of um, discounting. So limited edition, premium, exclusive. Again, the collabs that are only going to be here for X amount of time, creating exclusivity, and selling those exclusive products to to folks that are looking for unique offerings that they're not going to be able to find on anyone else. It's not just Louis Vuitton or the Hermes. It's not just the bigger brands of the world. It's also many mid-market and SMB startups are also doing this really well.
100%. I love these top three tips. So just because we've only got 6 minutes left, I wanted to just tackle a couple more questions.
Yes.
Let's talk about tools because we know that
Yeah.
there's so many tools out there. What are the best tools that you think e-commerce brands can be using to track these KPIs that we talked about?
To track, obviously it depends on everyone's budget and where they're at in terms of like size, et cetera. But there's this great graph from my former employer, Daasity, I encourage you all to go check out where are you on your journey, your growth journey? Are you single channel or are you omni-channel? Or, so once you hit each kind of lever on that journey, you're going to have to look at different resources and you're going to hit a different employee count, et cetera. So different tools are going to make sense for different folks, but you're going to want to use, if you're on Shopify, use Shopify's reporting. Use Google Analytics, obviously. Use all of the tools that are necessary as a baseline for you to run your business. You also, as you onboard new tools such as Wonderkind or Attentive SMS, um, I would say, they have reporting, you're able to log, but then you start to log into a lot of different platforms. Then you also have to have questions around incrementality because your social channels might be saying they're driving this and you're right. So you have to kind of bring that all into one house. And so Daasity is a great tool. Polar Analytics, Triple Whale. I mean, these are all great companies to check out. And I think probably some of them have some sort of demo or trial where you could go and start to use it. But AI is now here. And so you're able to basically ask the tool, like, what will happen to my, you can start asking forward thinking metrics based off of the data that you have. So you can either be like fluent in reviewing dashboards in Tableau or Looker, or you're not, and you want to be able to make sense out of the data that you have. And depending on the tool, it's going to be much easier for marketers to be able to just, hey, I just want to ask this dashboard what to do now.
Yeah, and I think this is a big struggle for many brands is finding out which one is right for them, and even if it's signing up for a trial. So I'm sure this is super helpful for anybody listening, and I would recommend you to go check out some of these companies, go do some research on YouTube, ask ChatGPT pros and cons, and of course feel free to reach out to myself or Michelle if you have any questions. But that being said, Michelle, do you want to kind of leave us off with where people can find you, if there's any
Yeah.
things that are going on that we should know about with you?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say you could reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Michelle Golladay. You can also reach out to me via email, which is michelle@golladay.co. And you can schedule a quick meeting with me. I'd be happy to support you on any of these topics or really anything else. So tech companies or retail brands. It's my favorite thing to talk about. And website's coming soon, but not quite live yet. But yeah, that's it. I mean, there's lots of conferences happening. So if you're in the US, you might be going to Shop Talk or the Lead Summit or Commerce Next, et cetera. If you have any questions on which shows to go to, I'm also a great resource for that. So I look forward to connecting with you. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Gracie.
Thank you so much for coming on, and it's been such a fun episode. So we'll wrap this up for now, guys. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and I'm going to drop all of the links below that Michelle mentioned. So if you need to reach her, you can do so. So thanks, everybody, and thanks, Michelle.